So this is our special Radio Mi Amigo broadcast on the top of the Eifel here in Germany, just south of Köln. And it's our pleasure as a group here at Radio Mi Amigo International to introduce you to the one and only Burkhard, who helps to run our shortwave service from Kall Krekel. Burkhard, hi.
Hi, Paul.
And most of all, thank you for the beer.
Well, I hope it tastes good for you.
It's brilliant. It's lovely. So this is a pretty impressive setup here, really, isn't it? We've got aerials everywhere. We've got towers. There's a whole load of equipment which hopefully you're going to show us around. Can you just explain a bit about this site before we start looking in detail at it?
Yes, this area around 6,000 square meters was built in the early 60s and was formerly used as a police station for radio communication. And the setup is with 5 antennas in shortwave as a Breitband dipoles. And in the middle is a 30-meter concrete pole with microwave dishes for the connectivity formerly to Düsseldorf, to the main city, and now it's used for the mobile provider like Vodafone and T-Mobile. And this is a basic antenna setup here in the area. Every antenna can transmit from 3 megahertz, 3 megacycles up to 50 megacycles. And all these transmitters are based on the underground in a bunker and are supported by the coax cable for the transmitting.
So how high above sea level are we here?
We are here around about 630 meters above sea level, and this is a very high point, so there's no natural obstacle heading north, direction Cologne, Düsseldorf. And so it's even for FM broadcasts a good facilities to transmit from.
And one of the things that really strikes anybody that comes here is the amount of wire up in the sky. Can you just explain these antennas to us?
Yes, if you see these so-called Reusenantenne, this is made as a broadband dipole. It's at the very last end as a resistor and inductivity, both sides, symmetric, to make it more flexible regarding the frequency. And in the middle we have symmetric support by a feeder. Here we have this feeding point with the balloon and the big coax cabling coming from here. It's unsymmetric. The balloon transforms this to 300 ohms, and then it's going to the top in the middle of the dipole. So I think we have a voltage round about from 600 volts high frequency on this feeder wire.
Just to explain to the layman listener, if you like, in terms of these aerials, they're dedicated to special frequencies that you're licensed for, aren't they? What are the frequencies that you operate on here?
Yes, so let's start with this here. This is the one used for 7310 shortwave transmitting. And the other one going this direction, it's used for 6005 megacycles. And then later on we have here on the right side so-called loop antenna for the 75 meter frequency. And here on the top of the house we have the antenna used for 9560 kilocycles exactly, megacycles.
So on a good day when all these services are running, particularly the shortwave ones, what kind of cumulative power have we got coming around this site?
Too much, meaning it sucks a lot of you have easily more than 20, 30, 40 kilowatts in total.
Okay. Well, now just before it rains and the camera gets wet, could we maybe have a look at the kit in the hut? That would be nice. Can we see the equipment?
Of course. You can go and have a look. Okay,
let's go. What is this bunker?
Yeah, these are the outcoming things from the bunker. If you see this small area around here, this is a bunker under this grass area, about 80 square meters. And this is usable for, let's say, air conditioning, for fresh air, etc., etc. And on the other side, you see this strange chimney. It's come from the diesel generator There's a big diesel generator in the bunker. We see later on. And all this stuff here is this roof directly in front of me. You can move this roof, then you have an entrance going to the bunker directly. If you have heavy equipment and so on, you can put this thing inside. So we are going here from the cellar level now, one level more down to the bunker. And we are going underneath the table.
Yes. Underneath all the copper wire.
Yeah.
It's like a truly government installation, isn't it? Very professional. We're in the equipment room now. How many meters below ground level are we here?
We are here now about 6 meters.
So we're 6 meters below the house.
Yeah.
A cellar is normally quite a cool place, isn't it? But here, of course, I can hear the whirring of fans. There's a lot of equipment in here, and it's actually quite warm, isn't it?
It is very warm, especially if we have now more than 30 degrees outside. And my air conditioning is working half craft because I want to use not too much power. But the transmitter can easily have 35 degrees. They are very robust and very reliable. They can work with 40 degrees. No problem at all.
So just give us a quick guided tour of the kit then. What have we got here?
Yeah, so we started here. This is the entrance. So the old bunker, like this, you can use it, open it. So
we've got a very thick door here. It's like a safe.
Yeah.
You could lock somebody in here, I guess.
So if you close the door, then we have more or less 1 bar plus. And this clean air is produced by this machine. There's a filtering. The sub-distribution for the power supply. So normal situation, out, and diesel generator. And this is for air conditioning, regulation.
Is it working today?
Today it's not working. So far I have only 35 degrees here. It's quite cozy.
It's quite cozy.
And further on, here's some equipment. This is a dummy load. This is a test receiver for shortwave. In the background, this is a diesel generator. Here's the air conditioning. Yes, we have an FM transmitter from Rodo und Schwarz. And then further on, we are going to the so-called shortwave area.
So now we move to a further room. The noise is increasing. The temperature's going up. What have we got in here then, Burkhard?
No, we have something around 30 degrees, and this room...
70 degrees?
It's 30.
Oh, right. Seems warmer than that.
Just calibrated here.
Okay.
And humidity is about 50%. That's quite fine. And this is a transmitter for 731. I push on. I have to bring back the power again. Zack. Because I interrupted to have no interference for the setup. This is the transmitter for 7310. This is the transmitter for 3985. And this is the transmitter for 6005. And belong to this transmitter, if I want to increase the power, I go then to the 20 kilowatts amplifier. And then this is going one way to the vertical antenna we saw outside, or to a loop to more horizontal radiation.
So typically what power outputs are these running at?
This every transmitter makes something roughly about 1 kilowatt. 1, 2, 3, so 3 kilowatts. And you see some measurement equipment from the 60s. Here is a spare part for the exciter. This is for controlling. And then further on we have here an antenna patch panel. All signals coming from the transmitters are patched to the right antenna. And this old-fashioned standard Decifix C connector. And then later on we go to the dummy load room and the high power switching room. So from this level on we have 20 kilowatts or 30 kilowatts and more. This twin ventilator is necessary for cooling the 20 kilowatt amplifier. So 20 kilowatt is designed, but Rodo und Schwarz guaranteed 20 kilowatts. I can easily tune it up for 30 and 40 kilowatt. And I have here an old tube. Maybe I go outside and show you, because this tube belongs to one of these transmitters. So this tube looks very good, but it has more than 100,000 hours.
Wow.
So this is burned out. And you have to replace the tube, let's say, every 2 years. Depends how long the transmitter is running. Then you replace this tube then for the
Is
transmitter.
that the one that you replaced a couple of months ago on the 6005?
Yeah, exactly. Therefore, it was laying here on the dummy load. I forgot to put it back to my spare part room. Exactly. This was broken. Remember, we had a big power decrease, and then it's going very quickly. Within 2 or 3 days, it's going down to 100 watts only.
In terms of qualifications, technical know-how for all this kind of kit, I mean, there's some pretty dangerous stuff here. So how technically qualified are you and Christian?
Yes, it's of course you have an education, a technical education, but you are motivated to learn all this stuff. Meaning, first you buy your first transmitter. So I started when I was 16. My first transmitter I had at 16, and later on I went to the Netherlands because it was in the 70s. We could buy the transmitters very cheap in Netherlands, bring them back to Germany and bring them on air, especially on the free radio parrot side.
Did you buy them in Groningen?
Exactly.
That's where we bought our transmissions at Decibel Radio. And Hofstad and Den Haag.
Okay. But further on, the official stations in Germany, they sold this stuff, and mainly these transmitters were used for let's say, police, marines, and so on. And especially this 20 kilowatt amplifier was used close to Wiesbaden for the BKA, Bundeskriminalamt in Germany. And this was the times when more or less the shortwave was in and necessary, with high power.
Now we move into a further room, a bit cooler in here, less going on, I guess.
Because the 1.5 kilowatt transmitter from Telefunken is not on the air. So this is used as
What frequency is that?
the same shortwave frequency like the SK1 from Rodo & Schwarz. And it's a little bit more power with a big tube inside and so on. And even this is more or less in a very old-fashioned setup, meaning Telefunken was late 60s, not on the same level like Rodo & Schwarz. But this is very nice. It's all manual. So the one we saw before, you can drive remotely. This is the good stuff with this all wheel, so you have to do everything manually. And this is the difference.
You've got some Roden Schwartz here that looks kind of 21st century, but you've got stuff here that looks like it goes back to what, the 40s, the 50s?
The 50s. This is one of the 50s. This transmitter, for instance, is used for airfields, for flight control stuff. It's
real military defense stuff, isn't it?
We sensor, therefore it's all in green. And it's the other one. And if you have a look here, all these spare parts, you need spare parts because this stuff is good, but from time to time it's broken. You have this is the stuff you need for the let's say for the 20 kilowatts transmitter. And if you have a shot inside, you see this is built very solid. This is a coil, it's moving one, it's a lot of mechanical stuff. And if you see inside, it looks complicated, but it's self-explaining. So you have the coil, you have the condensators, you have the motors to drive and so on. It's very easy to understand, but on a high mechanic level. This is the stuff for the 20 kilowatt, and it's you cannot do this manually. You have all these mechanical motors, so even you have high, even the anode plate current voltage is something about 8 kilovolts. So you cannot do like this. Probably you have to be very carefully. If you make one faulty, it's the wrong position, you are dead for sure. So therefore, it's everything very remotely controlled.
And that's why it's important to use dummy loads, isn't it? To set this kit up on low power before switching in the antennas and putting the high power in.
Exactly, that's the case. And in addition, I have another small room here, with, of course, with a normal dummy load. This is modern. I need this for if I make a TV, I have a test demodulator and I have to control the signal. So this is a
TV sender.
Yeah, TV sender, 1 kilowatt and with a measurement rack. And I use this for amateur TV. There's still one amateur TV we can use for analog transmitter. And I use it from time to time and put it on antenna, and it's going a region about 100 kilometer.
Oh. How many watts?
1 kilowatt.
1 kilowatt.
1 kilowatt, yeah. And again, a small dummy load to make first checks before you go on air.
This dummy load is about a meter tall, isn't it? Almost.
Yeah. And then the power is going via this cable trace, then to the tower. No? This is all going underneath. We have our standing.
So we've got holes in the wall with big, thick cables.
Yeah.
That are about what, 3 centimeters wide. That go up through the ceiling and then out into the field.
Yeah, I did only one time a hole here in this hall. The hole is something about minimum 60 centimeters, like this.
60 centimeters.
Yeah. So it's a very, very old concrete. You say one hole per day, then it's enough.
So in terms of power generation, how many kilowatts of AC power do we have here?
In total we have something around 60-70 kVA.
And what happens when maybe the main AC power generator goes? How much, are you able to survive on petrol generator power or any resilience?
Yes, basically yes, but normally the power supply is very safe. I have within the last 10 years there only 1 or 2 big power interruptions, and that was only 1 hour. But in case if there's no power available, I put on the diesel generator and I'm on diesel.
Because this is obviously a big professional business with several radio stations occupying this site, so you've got to make sure that it's up and running 24/7, 365 days a year, haven't you?
Exactly. And therefore power supply is needed and must be reliable in terms of if there's a power failure, you put on the diesel and you can transmit and nobody will notice the difference. All right. In case of atomic war. What we can do here is my spare part room. It's nice to make some close-ups with some interesting parts.
Oh gosh, look at this. So now we're in the spare parts room. Burkhard, I've seen a workshop. In fact, my Radio Shack it's a little bit like this, but this is very impressive. My gosh, we've got a reel-to-reel deck there on the floor. There's all kinds of capacitors, resistors, components. I can see tuning capacitors.
Transmitters.
Yeah, even a passive transmitter, meaning just in case you need some spare parts.
Spare cable.
Yeah.
So talk us through what we've got in here.
Yeah, so we start, for instance, with this fantastic tube from Siemens. This is a tube in the 20.
This is like a great big cylinder. It looks like it's. It looks like the engine off an aeroplane. To be honest with you.
Yeah, but the tube itself can make 50 kilowatts. But Rohde and Schwarz, they're making to be always on the very, very safe side. We make only for 20 kilowatt, not to make too much overload for the parts and so on. Yes, this is a tube.
How heavy is it?
20 kilo something. I don't mind.
Yeah, I can see you struggling there as you pull it off the shelf.
Of course, this one is a used one. I have in total 4 brand new one, just in another room as a spare part. You need tubes. This tube you cannot buy anymore. That's the problem. But even if this tube is broken, you put it not away. You bring back to the manufacturer, and replace it, meaning repair it. Yeah, all these, the coils and stuff you need. Another wonderful transmitter for FM, for the air control.
This is a big dark green cabinet with handles on the front, dials and knobs. Incredible piece of kit.
Exactly.
And it's the right coax connector, so it's a little bit bigger than a normal BNC connector, but this is designed for up to 50 kilowatts.
This is bigger than a gasoline house.
Yeah.
In your car.
So this standard was called, or is called, a DC-Fix D, up to 50 kilowatts.
Wow.
And the small one, it's only up to 10 kilowatts.
It's probably about 10 times the size of normal coax that goes in the back of a TV set.
But it's a nice standard. You see, it's self-explaining. You know, you have the connector, you have in the middle, you have this going in the coax cable. So you make not something wiring, and it's only mechanic.
Yeah.
It's really reliable and very, very solid.
Yeah. And for that kind of high power, it needs to be, doesn't it? It's got to be very tough, very solid, weatherproof.
Maybe you can use small equipment, but then only for 1 or 2 hours. But if you think and if you work in 24 hours, 7 days per week, it must be very solid.
Wow.
Here another transmitter.
What is this? What is this?
So
now we move into another room.
This is a spare transmitter for Radio 700. This is another spare transmitter, 1 kilowatt, just in case, you never know. And here now the transmitter is running for 9560. Come on in.
Oh, wow.
And this is another room, more or less when I want to have a little bit smaller, a little bit more cozier. I use this room, and I have a couple of receivers and transmitters here. And even I want not to do too much repair stuff in the bunker. I'm here, it's warmer. You look, this is just in check. I have to repair a bit the exciter. And you see here's another transmitter from Telefunken, 400 watts. And some measurement equipment. All built, let's say, in the 60s, 65, up to 90s, 70. So 60s and 70s. This was the high time of this equipment.
The other nice thing about this room is you've given it a kind of a, if you pardon what I say, a Radio Shack feel about it. You know, we're underground here, but we've got wooden panels on the walls and it's a very cozy feel, isn't it? Nice desk, so I could see you sitting here looking at all these needles flicking away.
Exactly. It's really nice to work here and to repair this equipment. Further on, here's some test receiver from FM. This is one picture from Rot und Schwarz, meaning they're showing this is the first crystal clock. Not portable one, but first crystal clock. And this is the first field strength measurement equipment. Here's this original. Here's on the photo. They used when they built up after the Second World War the first FM transmitter close to Munich. They made field strength measurement, and this was the equipment to measure the field strength. Very historic photo. All right. Yes.
Very impressive.
And a little bit from my business. I worked in the TV broadcast scene, and I was working in Cologne.
I got like this bit, Leon.
And I have here a small this is a TV control room. So I have you saw the TV transmitter.
Yeah.
So you need a control transmitter, control room for the transmitter to produce the signals. So this was formerly an edit suite with 3 analog VTRs, Beta KMSB, exactly. And I designed this with this Grass Valley Master 21 as a transmission control room. So the vision and the sound are controlled here from this room. And in addition, I have here an old sound thing from BFA. So this was designed for MCE. Yeah, no. It's very rare. You know the F500?
Wow.
Nice one. If you look like this, it's a good sound. You see? You put it on. You see the sound, no? It's really good stuff, no?
Yeah.
Yes, this is all the equipment from the early 80s, I would say. Early 80s.
Kein Weg zurück von hier.
Genau, pass auf.
Very impressive. Wow, it's warm.
All right.
Wow, it's warm down there.
Because all the transmitters they can be controlled remotely. This Rot und Schwarz SK1. Oh, still not raining.
Good.
Paul, no, we are here in the normal house, and when I have my coffee in the morning, I go here in my control check room and to see how the signals are running and so on. And I have this area here with a field strength measurement, so I can control the field strength here for shortwave and
Field strength, yeah.
Yeah, for FM as well. And yes, that's
So the SWR is what some people would refer to that as.
yeah, exactly.
So when it's wet, maybe a little bit higher.
Exactly. Depends. It's wet or it's sunshine. Or you have a test receiver, meaning I put on the sound here from 605 now.
So we've got 6005, 7310, 9560 on the presets.
These corals, white corals that they see, these aragonite formations.
Control 7310, control 6055.
And that signal is reading what? The actual finished processed RF output?
Exactly. This is the final master control.
Yeah.
And that's it.
What's the tube doing?
This tube is a present for you. Yeah, prepare it. This is one of the transmitters we saw there from the 60s.
Oh, wow.
They prepared the setup, and you put this on your desk at home and feel funny if the tube is burning.
I would love one of those.
That is fantastic.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, of course, if I want to do from here, from this control room, some live transmissions, I use this old Siemens audio mixer, a very rare one, but very, very solid. And this is fine. You have 6 inputs, and parallel with this old-fashioned stuff, I made the control of the shortwave transmitters. So it's going serial. First of all, you put the mode on it. You say AM is for 3. Then you quit with 0. Next one is the frequency. You dial the frequency, quit this with 0, and so on and so on. And then you can remote frequency change and everything. This is a very old technology.
This is fantastic.
But it works.
And it's an old telephone dial with a few buttons on it. You know, that's all it looks like, but that's an amazing piece of kit.
That's one. The normal one is only 0, but this one is for
Enter.
to enter.
Yes.
A special one.
Very clever.
This is incredible.
Yeah,
I really like the filament, though. That's the kind of thing we could have for Radio Mi Amigo. You know, give it away as a prize with Mi Amigo on the glass. Wouldn't that be great? Just a little desktop thing. Better than a mouse mat, isn't it?
absolutely.
And there's your big picture again with the receiver and the mountains.
Exactly. This is a big picture from the first FM transmitter in Germany with the field strength measurements in
And the graphics.
Bavaria. Yeah. We have here a very modern transceiver von Rode und Schwarz with MOSFET power, and you can have it, with this microphone and loudspeaker, put in the frequency. It's built in the 90s. I use it mainly only for ham radio. So for broadcast, it's not bad, but not reliable enough.
So are you a ham licensed
Yes.
operator yourself?
Yes, correct.
And what's your call sign, instead of interest?
Delta Fox 5 X-Ray Victor.
Delta Fox 5 X-Ray Victor. We'll listen out for you. What bands do you work, typically?
Mainly the lower bands, the 80 meter bands or 160 meter bands.
And what's your furthest QSL that you've had?
I have no QSL. So meaning I have some friends, we make communication, but I'm not making QSLs with QSL cards and stuff like this. It's not my thing. To do it, that's fun, not to collect papers.
Well, Bernhard, this has been an absolutely fascinating tour around this wonderful house. As I say, it is an amateur radio ham's dream. And of course, you're providing such an important service to the public across Germany for their AM shortwave services, etc. So any final words for the watchers and the listeners of this special program?
Let's keep the shortwaves. Let's fight and live for shortwaves. That this fantastic band will live in the world of tomorrow.
Just out of interest, what is your own personal interest in all of this? Because you've got to be quite a special person, haven't you, to live in a field with all this radio frequency energy around you?
Well, the best moment is always to fire on the transmitter and you see, the power is on, and to get the feedback nowadays from email. This can be heard all over the world. This is a magic moment. Meaning fire on, make maybe some test signals or test program, and you have always a feedback from all the freaks who can receive this.
And your favorite station?
In total, of course, because it's a radio, the classic radio, it's Mi Amigo.
Oh, yes. So the fact that Radio 700 were here last week and you said the same thing to them.
Well, 700 is a different approach. 700 make a program for broadband people, let's say. But Mi Amigo International, Radio Mi Amigo is something for the freaks, the old freaks. Meaning, love it or leave it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we call it Bovril or Marmite.
All right.
You either like it or you don't like it.
Exactly.